Okay guys, if you follow me for the next 30 minutes, you'll finish with a clean, punchy, club ready mix that translates on phones, cars, club speakers, you name it. So first what we're going to do is mix in session view for fast level changes. So what I'm going to do is click the tab to go back into session view, and what I'm going to do is expand all of our groups and go through all of these one by one, bringing the meters back up. So here, down here is your meters. Now if I play that, you will see the meters going green. Okay, we have two simultaneous measurements here. We've got the darker bar, which is peak level, that's absolute maximum, that's what can clip. And then we've got the lighter green bar, which is RMS, and that's a more average loudness that feels closer to how we hear it. The numbers up the side here, so that light one is how we hear it, and the darker one is maximum. Now the numbers down the side here of the meter show the exact level, and in the top left up here shows the all-time peak, okay? And the number up the top here, in the top left, that readout shows your all-time peak for the track. So if you see red at any time, that's clipping, you need to pull it down. When mixing, we don't want to be chasing loudness. That's the mastering engineer's job. We want to leave -6 to 12 dB headroom on the master. So if I play this is hitting between -6 and -12 dB. So this is hitting right, but we still need a bit of work to do on this mix. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tab to arrangement view, and I'm just going to loop the busiest part of the track where it's got the most elements in. I think probably like this part. Yeah, I believe this has got the most elements in, apart from the vocals, which we can go to at a later stage. So now what we're going to do is tab back to session view, highlight all of the tracks. I'm just going to get rid of the browser just so we've got as much room as possible, and I'm going to just drag that down here. And now what I'm going to do is highlight all of the tracks and bring them all down, all of the meters down to 0. And now what I'm going to do is just bring them up one at a time until I feel it sits right. So let's start doing this. And just loop it on this section. So it's looped, but we've obviously got no sound coming out because we took all our meters down. So with the group channels, we're just going to leave them at the top and then bring in the kick. Around there, okay? And then I have another kick in here layered, so I'm just going to find that. It's over here, so I'm going to bring that up as well. Then I'm going to find the basses. Here we go, we've got our bass. And our sub bass. And then we can start bringing the rest of the drums in now. Some of them won't be coming in because they're not on that loop. Oh, that did just come in there. But we can come back to that. Now this is a group, so I'm just gonna put that to the top and then bring in my top loops. Remember, we're not aiming for loudness. If you want to turn it up in your headphones, turn it up, but we're not aiming for loudness here. That's a group, so I'll bring that up. That synth that I've just tried to bring in is that synth there. So I just want to quickly go over to that part and just listen to that. Could be a bit louder because it's quite distinctive. I love that. So now I'm just moving my loop across where, you know, my FX and my vocals and that sort of stuff is as well. So I've got some vocals and FX here, which I want to start bringing in. And I'm just pressing the tab button to go back and forth. Yeah, that one's nice there. Got a crash build back here. So if we just listen to that. The vocal group, bring that up. Now the vocals. Don't know why the vocals are in a group actually. But anyway.
Know that I miss you.
So we've got this next bit of FX here. That could be a bit quieter. We've got these pads here. Oh, they're a bit loud. Then we've got these pads back here. What else? These vocal chops. We've got the vocal effects. By the way, I'm loving that call and response with the vocal effects. Da-da-da, boom, da-da-da, boom, da-da-da, boom. That call and response there between the synth stab and the FX vocal is sexy. Love that. Then what else we got? We've got these little effects here. Bit quieter. And then this one here. Loving that. Right, so now we've done a really decent sort of meter leveling in session view. So we've got all of our levels at the right sound by doing it that way, and this is how the pros do it, by the way. So now I'm happy to just start actually doing the professional mix down. So if we're back in session view, what we can do for professional mix down is actually start panning some of our hi-hats to the left and right. So we've got we've got a closed hi-hat here, and if we use this toggle down here, we can pan that to the left, and we've got another closed hi-hat here, so we could pan that one to the right. We've got an open hi-hat here, which we could pan to the left, open hi-hat here, which we could pan to the right, and that's just giving it a bit of width. And then we could do this with all of the similar elements. So if we've got two shakers, opposite sides, just to stop masking, okay, to give it its own space. Think of everything having its own space. We could also do this with low frequency elements. So my shaker, I could pan that a bit to the left. Have I got another shaker? No. So I'm just going to do it slightly to the left because we've not got anything to... What I do with my percussion, I can pan these slightly though. So I had this one pan to the left, so this one can pan slightly to the right. I'm going to leave my crash... I could pan my crash slightly to the right. I'm going to leave my kick and clap center. Actually, I've got two claps, so the clap could be panned slightly to the left and slightly to the right. And then I can also do a little bit with these top loops. The basses I would want to leave where they are. I think the synths I'm going to leave where they are for now. And yeah, you get the idea. Any similar elements, just pan one to the left, one to the right, just so they're not clashing. What I'm going to do is move this bass over here, group the bass and sub bass, rename it bass, and then I'm just going to open up my browser and just add a utility onto the bass, and then click bass mono and have it around 100 Hertz. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit more about EQing. Now, EQing is sculpting the frequency content. So what I'm going to do is just talk you through this. So what we're going to do is put an EQ8 on every single element, all right? But for starters, I'm going to just put an EQ on the clap. But I want you to do this with absolutely everything. But obviously, for the purpose of the lesson, we're just going to put it on a clap for now. And then what I'm going to do is just solo this clap, press play, and just see where it's hitting on the frequency spectrum. So it's hitting around 1K, 100 Hertz, and it's got a few highs as well, with some lows too. And what we can do is put this EQ8 on every single element in our mix, see where it's hitting, and basically shape so nothing's hitting, so the highest part, nothing ever hits on the same spot to truly give every element its own space. The different shapes. You've got your low cut, higher cut, so your low and high shelf. You've got your bell. So let's just talk about this a little bit more. So if I play this, what you can do, you can change the shape of number 1, or you can change the shape of number 2. So this is 2, this is 3. You can turn these knobs on and off. What I feel like is the easiest way to go about it is just using the number 1, say, so turning number 3 off and then changing the shape of number 1 to whatever you want it. So if you want to get rid of high resonances, what you can do is press this little headphone and you can sweep through using this diagram here, and if you put the headphone on, you can sweep through to hear any high resonances. That very high resonancy, that's something that we don't need to have. So then you could leave that on and that will just take it out, and it gives your mastering engineer a much easier job when you go through and sweep through these. If I put number 2 on, then I can leave that there, so that's getting rid of the higher frequencies, and I can shape this to bring out some of the lows to give room for my kick and bass. So it's not changing the sound dramatically. So if I just turn it on and off, that's it on, off. This is it on. I'm going to turn off the headphone now. And what I'm doing, I'm just getting rid of those low frequencies just to allow the kick and bass to have its own space. And I'm going to do that with every single element. I'm going to go through and shape the sound of it, being careful not to take away the dynamics of the sound, but being conscious to give everything its own space on the frequency spectrum, and that is EQing. The next thing I want to talk to you about is compression. And I'll put it on the clap again. And what you can see is the spikes of the clap going up. So if I bring this right back down, you can hear it gets quieter because we're putting everything at a more flat level, so we've not got these spikes. So it just makes it easier for the mastering engineer to make the whole thing louder. We've got these different settings here, peak, RMS and expand. So RMS feels a bit more musical, so if I play it, peak is more precise for transient control, and expand makes it a bit louder and expands it. Like on RMS, dry and wet you can hear obviously with it off and then with it on. This makeup gain increases the loudness if we've taken it away. I try to stay away from that makeup gain. We can make it up in different ways when we're mastering. But you're probably thinking, when should you use this compression tool? This is to control uneven vocals, plucks and tops. So I wouldn't necessarily put it on my clap, but we could have a look at putting it on the vocals. So where are the vocals? Here. And bring the compression down a bit.
I just want you to know
that I miss you. That I miss you.
I miss you.
And this just takes away those spikes, what you get with vocals, because, you know, a vocal can go up and down, and sometimes vocalists can sing louder and quieter. This just sort of compresses it, so it brings it back to a one natural sort of like volume level. Next up is one of the most important tools when it comes to doing your mix down, and it is side chaining. So in the compressor you've got this little button here. Now this little arrow pointing down, if you click it, it opens this side chain element. Side chaining basically lets your kick breathe. Okay, so side chain ducks another sound when the kick hits, so the low end stays clean. So I'm going to get rid of this for now, and then I'm going to go to my bass. group, and I'm going to stick on a compressor on it, and then I'm going to open up the side chaining. And then what you want to do is you want to click on external, click on the kick, so you've got your kick here, and then I'm gonna play the bass and the kick together. So I just soloed the bass, soloed the kick, and I just want you to hear the difference. Let me go to main section in the track. So you can see visually and hear visually the kick really pumping through there. The kick's really pumping through. If I turn it off, you can see that you can actually see the changes. Put it on. You can hear and see visually like the kick pumping through. I would actually probably change the frequency to around 100 Hertz on here. I'd have my attack around 5 to 20 milliseconds. And then I'd have the release around 80 to 150. And then if I play that, it's really kicking through now. I would also adjust the threshold a little bit to around 1 to 3 dB. Just hear the difference. As I bring that threshold right down, you can barely hear the bass, only the kick. And that is side chaining to the extreme. But we want to hear it, so we want to hear the bass come through enough, but ducking a little bit when the kick's hitting. So you can have it around there. By the way, if you are loving this mix down lesson and you do want more one-on-one mentoring, then please do click the link in the description to book in a free call with us. We'll accelerate your mix downs, branding, release strategy all together. We'll get you gigs, we'll get you sign-ins, we'll get you exactly where you want to be in the industry. But for now, back to mixing. So I would go through and I would literally sign chain everything to the kick, following this method. Obviously your bass you have to, but you don't have to with every element, but that's what I like to do. I would go through and see what sounds similar and pan similar sounds to the left and right. I would go through and put an EQA on every single element and make sure you're shaping the sound in the frequency spectrum so no two sounds are clashing together. And you can do a bit of a reality check with this. You can turn your speakers, your monitor speakers right down low. Does your kick still come through? Does your bass, does your vocals, can you still hear it coming through? I know there's so much to take in when we're doing a mix down. You know, you can spend absolute hours on your mix down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a checklist in the description of what you need to check off when you're doing your mix down. Okay, and I'm going to put everything that you need to be doing in your mix down to get that clean mix down, so you've got it all, so you can literally print it off the side of you. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And then you can play your track through and it should sound banging.